Humbleness for the king and princess. Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Well,
we had a good chat before about gi, no gi, and this big question about if you're gonna go gi or no gi. Personally, I believe that if you really want to be good in jiu-jitsu, doesn't matter no gi, whatever, you have to train sooner or later with the gi to be a master. But as I said, if you're only focusing on MMA, I believe that there is no need to focus on the gi because you don't have the time. Okay, you don't have the time to spend with gi because it takes a lot of time. But that's my opinion, and what I say to a lot of people also, that most of the gi people are only talking about the gi and then there is no gi. But to be honest with you, I personally believe that my game gets better when I go with no gi. I'm getting better in gi too. Well, what was your opinion?
I always thought that gi and no gi for me are like two pieces of the same puzzle. It's like you said, if you want to be a master in each one of those forms of jiu-jitsu, they're both jiu-jitsu. If you're doing gi, you want to be very good at gi. No gi is going to help you too, and it's the same thing. It goes both ways. Both gi and no gi, they help each other. It makes you think in a different way. So you evolve. It doesn't matter if you're doing no gi or gi. So if you're training a lot with the gi, it's going to help your no gi game too.
Yeah, but the funny thing is that I've seen so many people, and to be honest with you, a lot of Brazilians. Of course, they say you have to do gi. In some sort, I believe in that too. But they never talk about the other way around. They never say like, oh, you should go a little bit no gi to get better in gi. Because I see like one of the best open guard BJJ guys like Michael Lange from Alliance. I mean, he's open guard, he's amazing. Amazing. He's spider guard, he's using spider guard that nobody else is doing. And it's really awesome. But of course, with no gi for him, it's going to be a hell. I mean, he has to change the game completely. It's like day and night. That's why, I mean, I know to talk about Marcelo Garcia in this community is almost too much nowadays, but if you look at Marcelo Garcia's game, no gi is very close to each other. It's not like he's doing spider guard in one and just clinch game in another. He's using the same kind of techniques.
The arm drag and stuff, he does like pretty much the arm drag with the gi, and he works in the very same mechanical way.
Yeah. So what's your thought about it? I mean, I say also, like, if you're doing MMA, you know, and I know it takes a lot of effort, a lot of time to spend on the mat to master anything in gi. Personally, I say, you don't need to go with gi if you don't have time for it. Of course, if you have all the time in the world, go for gi also. The funny thing was that my friend Paul Daly, Centex Daly, he put on Facebook now that I'm going to spice my game. I think I'm going to put on the gi at least once a week. I think it's a Gracie Baja black belt. And that means that, I mean, he's top 10 ranked in his weight class. So somehow he feels like maybe he can get something from me. But I don't personally believe that you have to do gi for the MMA. I mean, it's because we are using the gi, and if you learn to use the gi, and then you don't have anything, you don't have these handles in MMA. So why should you? I mean, why would you go there? And the funny thing was that, like Roger Gracie, I mean, he's a monster. I mean, he's the best, one of the best guys I ever seen. Period. But he said like 80% of his game it doesn't work in MMA. Because, you know, he doesn't have to care about the kicking or punching and things like that. So why do you think a lot of Brazilians are like always pushing for doing the gi?
The main thing is with Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu and all, usually Brazilians are very conservative about Jiu-Jitsu. It's something that it took for us a long time to achieve, all of this like well-known Jiu-Jitsu, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu and all. And it took a lot of effort to have that out, to have, you know, a lot of people knowing about Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. So of course we're gonna be like pushing it to our side, you know. But I actually agree that, you know, if you're doing MMA and you don't have the time, you have to channel your efforts towards the no-gi, and it's very good. The thing is, I think there are many different levels. It's one thing to have the knowledge of Jiu-Jitsu to do MMA, and it's something else to have the knowledge of Jiu-Jitsu to go for a DCC or to go to a gi competition. So the positions that work in MMA, you have to change them a bit, because since you have punches and all.
Yeah, but one thing that's it's a fact is that if you look on every top fighting guys in every weight class in the UFC, for example, you always see some Brazilians. And somewhere it has to be like, there is not just talk, because these guys are jiu-jitsu players from the beginning. I mean, they like, I saw Jacare last fight, it was ridiculous. I mean, he was doing whatever he wanted to do that. And I know that guy in jiu-jitsu is incredible. But if you look, I mean, look at the top guys, most of them even have black belts in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. So it has to be some connection. I believe that. I'm not saying it has to be just because of the gi, because the guys probably left the gi a long time ago. I don't think Jacare trained too much with the gi now, because he didn't have time for doing that either. I mean, he has to do boxing, wrestling, cardio, and all this shit. So a lot of guys, at least they got their basics from the Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, and from there on. And I think that the basic somewhere gives them a lot of benefits.
I would say that the gi, for what I imagine, my vision is like the gi for helping your no-gi game. The gi is like a catalyst. You know, since you're doing the gi for such a long time, even though your game is going to be very different if you do no-gi, there are many things that are in common, and it gives you another perspective of the no-gi game. So it's like I said, if you cannot afford the time, it's good, but it's something that's going to help you long term, in a very, very top, high level. So if you're doing it for MMA, maybe it is best to focus on the no-gi game, and with how to do the wrist controls right, and
how the overhook game,
the overhook and the underhooks. And you have to focus on that. But that's what I was saying. The gi gives you a different perspective, and that helps you.
Of course. No, but that's what the conclusion I want to. I mean, what I'm trying to say is that I'm going against a lot of things, because I believe that my no-gi game helps my gi game, and we always talking in one direction. I believe it's two directions. It's always give and take from both places. I mean, in no-gi you have the clinch game, and this clinch game helps you a lot, because if you have the same clinch game in gi, and you have the handles too, you have a lot to gain. So that's a little bit like people just talking one direction. I don't like it, because I think jiu-jitsu, both is jiu-jitsu, and the mix of it is the best. I believe that's my personal belief, but I'm not. There is no fact for it. I mean, it's just what I think myself after a couple of years training.
Yeah, it's very, like I said, the conservative kind of view with the gi in Brazil is because it's everything we look. you know. Jiu-Jitsu, it's something that's so great. Like I come from Rio de Janeiro, and in this city, people that are older than 35, they all done Jiu-Jitsu at some point. So Jiu-Jitsu is really big, it's very well known. But grappling is something that you don't see in Brazil at all. So, you know, it's
why do you think they don't do that much more?
It's not...
Because, I mean, it's still in ADCC, top guys. I mean, they're still Brazilian guys.
In Brazil, it's always like this. You start from Jiu-Jitsu, you've done it for 10 years, you say, maybe I want to go to ADCC, and then you start working on the other stuff.
Okay.
But it's very hard to find someone that, you know, is a wrestler from the beginning and he's Brazilian.
No.
Because it's not that big.
No, because the thing is that I believe that the guys who's doing ADCC and so on, somewhere really need to work on the NoGi. Because, I mean, as I said, if you're used to play with the gi, I mean, of course, this is also another point, another perspective, is that if you put a gi on a no-gi guy, he will be completely fucked up. I mean, that's it. He's not used to it. But in other way, a guy with a gi going no-gi, he will do better than the other way around. So I think that maybe that is confusing a little bit.
Well, what I think is, since you're all talking about like gi or no-gi, if you like try to go from gi to no-gi, the thing is, with no-gi, since you don't have the gi, you have the last option. So when guys started no-gi, we're talking about that someone that knows this much and can use those kind of positions, and when he has the gi, then his view needs to open a bit, and with the gi it works in another way. You have this many options because, you know, even though some things work best with no-gi because everything slides better, in theory, everything that you can do no-gi, you can do with the gi.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
But the other way around doesn't work because you don't have lapels, you don't have pens to grab. So that's the thing. You have this many options when you're fighting with the gi, and when you have no gi, you still have many of the options that you had, but some of them you don't. But when you go from no gi to the gi, that it's not the same, you know. You're talking about people that are used to having many things to do, and then they can adapt. But the no-gi, you have to learn other things. There are things that you don't do that you have to learn when you go for the gi. So I think maybe that's why. Yeah.
No, but since we've been training together like 1 year ago, something for half a year, when you went back to Brazil, you were doing some no-gi, and because here it was 50-50. I mean, we do half gi, half no-gi. But when you went back to Brazil, you had a good success with a lot of techniques. I remember you told me.
Since those, many of the Planet game and Planet X game is something that in Brazil is nothing that has spread out. It's something that is not that well known. And of course, you're gonna catch people by surprise. People are expecting you at this position to grab the gi at some point, and sometimes you go straight no-gi, you get the element of surprise with the gi. People are expecting you to grab the lapel or go for some other kinds of control, and then when you don't grab nothing, you go to the position faster and you catch them by surprise in a position that they never seen, and they don't know how to defend because of that. Then it is very effective. You know, those no-gi positions that I learned, they are very effective and they're not that well known. So we catch many people by surprise, and they are very good.
We're talking about the electric chair.
We're talking about the truck. We're talking about, you know, the calf cranks that you can do from there, and many other stuff. When you go from twisted side control to the back, you know, I think in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, going from this unusual position, which is twisted side control, to go to the back is a transition that people don't do that. It's really rare. Sometimes people go to all fours and then you transition to the back, but actually getting the back from twisted side control, people expect the mount, but not the back.
So what I want to say in the end is from my point of view, I gain a lot to my whole jiu-jitsu playing game, train both. And that has been bothering me for a while, you know, because it has, but it has changed also. A lot of things that, even in Thalles Bandeira, you see that Joe Rogan got his black belt from Shawshank Machado. Now it's like a little bit more accepted also, because it was like this or that. It has to be. But from my point of view, it's the same shit. We're doing the same shit.